Hi, I'm Robert Elder, and this summer I worked with Dr. Herring Kay on the project Evolution of Collectivity with Spin in Arsenic-70. Arsenic-70 is a proton-rich odd-odd nuclei. That means it has an odd number of neutrons and an odd number of protons. This is significant because protons and neutrons pair off with one another. This reduces the net spin of those pairs to 0. So since there's an odd number of protons and neutrons, they have a non-zero net spin, and this causes a more chaotic level scheme, especially at low energy, which you can see here, with all these vertical transitions happening throughout the low spin level scheme. Arsenic-70 is also a member of the Wild West region of the nuclear landscape. This encompasses nuclei with mass number of about 60 to 80. This region is it's right there, and it's especially interesting because it represents a transition between single particle behavior and collective behavior. Single particle behavior has energy transitions that are expressed because of, they're due to individual particles within the nuclei jumping from one position to another. Meanwhile, in collective behavior, these energy transitions are represented by collective behaviors of all the nucleons within the nuclei as a whole, such as rotations or vibrations of the nucleus. In the previous work, we saw that there are these collective bands in Arsenic-70 similar to those in Arsenic-72, but there are some gaps that we hope to find in our research this summer. Our data was collected at Florida State University by their germanium detector array. They shot a beam of oxygen-18 excited to 50 megaelectron volts at a target of manganese-55. This created arsenic-73 at a high energy state, and it evaporated light particles off of it. And when 3 neutrons left arsenic-73, it resulted in arsenic-70. Arsenic-70 then decayed down to its ground state by releasing gamma rays. These gamma rays were, of course, detected by Florida State University's high-resolution germanium detector array, and the data that they collected was sent to us for analysis. This is one of the many spectra that we have in as part of our analysis, and we can see several peaks here of where gamma rays are seen in coincidence with other gamma rays. And this helps us to determine which gamma rays are members of Arsenic-70's level scheme and which are not, as well as the order in which they belong in the level scheme. In our research, we added these new transitions in red to the previous work. In particular, this outlined a negative parity odd spin band right here that was previously missing. So with this band, we were able to do some additional analysis to Arsenic-70. We compared the evolution of states as spin increases to what theory would predict for a rotating rigid object. And this is what we see here. As we can see, the trend seems to follow that theory rather well. So we can conclude that these bands in Arsenic-70 are due to collective rotations of the body of the nucleus as a whole. We also compared the energy differences between the states in the bands of Arsenic-70 to those of other odd-odd nuclei in this region. And we saw that they oscillated between high and low values and had the same phase as these other odd-odd nuclei, which is very encouraging and suggests similarities with those nuclei as to where the leftover particles, the proton and the neutron, go when they are excited. Furthermore, we looked at the kinematic moment of inertia, which is similar to the macroscopic moment of inertia that is important in general physics. We noticed that these tend to go toward a rigid body value that we calculated theoretically ourselves, and that's a trend that is also set forth by the other odd-odd nuclei within this region. Finally, we looked at a total Ruthian surface calculation. This calculation tells us about the deformation of Arsenic-70. And in this image, we can see a little dot here along this prolate line. That is the minimum energy in this topographic sort of graph. And that tells us that the deformation of arsenic 70 is primarily prolate. And it is within this collective region, as suggested by the rest of our analysis. And so in conclusion, we could determine that arsenic 70 shares many similarities, including the fact that the leftover proton and neutron occupy the G9 orbital as it does in the nearby odd nuclei. And I would like to thank Dr. Herring Kay for his help with this research, as well as the National Science Foundation and Ohio Wesleyan for this opportunity for the SSRP project. Thank you.